spend the last part of the conversation, if it's all right, just talking about how you would work with organisations like those watching this.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like you said right at the very start, for me, it is about it's about the business success. It's about making businesses as profitable as possible. So it's how do you link all that together? And like I say, it's the right person in the right place at the right time. So I like to kind of split it into three parts. One is what behaviors are actually happening in your organization. So really understand that at all levels. I can work with leaders on this, but I can also work with teams on it to kind of hear these stories. Because I know some brilliant guys who have no idea what's going on right underneath their nose because they've never asked, because they've never, why would they even know to ask? So sometimes they just need a bit of a prod to just go and check what's actually happening with that individual. You mentioned bias earlier. It doesn't take much for someone to say something about a person and that becomes fact when it could have been wrong in the first place. But you've got a mark on that against that person. So, I'm a big encourager of, when I work with companies, I don't like one and done trainings that people walk off and go back and do their day jobs. It's working and I think the term is experiential learning. So we have a session, they go on with their day, they come back and they reflect on something that we have spoken about and see how does it apply. So let's take bias, for example. They will then spend a week understanding, okay, is there bias here? Is there bias here? And write it down. And then next time when we meet, we have a conversation about it. What did they see? And so it doesn't then put a big onus on the rest of their work. It's just you're chipping at how they think. So, like I said, behavior's big part of it. The next section, it's about the technical skills. So you can bring in the most confident and competent individuals into an organization, but if you are not unleashing them and letting them, use their skills, nobody's winning. So this is another one that I like to, ask people, how well understood are they by their organization on what they can contribute? Are they valued for the skills that they have? Or have you hired a woman to come in and she's an exceptional engineer and you've got her taking the minutes in every meeting? Because that happens. Side note, I did put a LinkedIn post on this recently and there were quite a few people that said, well, just say no. And then I'll put my hand up. I said no once. Guess what happened? Not good things. You can say no if you have the right culture for it and you're supported. But for a lot of people, one, you may not be able to say no. And two, if you do, you're noisy, not a team player, troublemaker. And you get these labels again, back to the biases.
Yeah. And also there's, sorry, just a really quick interjection on this one, I promise. But also that is a fundamentally, that is a workset mindset, a workforce mindset. Try and get that phrase right. That is fundamentally more skewed towards a male-dominant society. That because I've spent quite a lot of time looking at the various psychological traits of us all, and like I say, there are outliers on either side. I, for example, am off the charts when it comes to agreeableness. That I would not fall in the male category if you were to blind test me. It's I know my psychological profiling. But there are certain key traits when we're in the centre where we see the average norms. There are certain key traits that we keep seeing time and time again. It's one of the fundamental reasons why there's gender pay gap discrepancies, because on average women will tend to be more agreeable in nature, and I'm using that as the very specific clinical psychological term. Will tend to be more agreeable, and so will not push harder for and that's one of those fun. It's such a multifaceted part of that conversation, but that's one element that plays exactly into this point. Somebody saying, "Well, just say no," is automatically coming from a more dominant mindset, and from a more dominant mindset that generally tends to be a more male-orientated, male-dominated, specific place. We have to make space for that not to be the case, and we have to take ownership. As leaders, I say that, not as a man, I say that as leaders. We have to take ownership that these things don't happen, because it's not right to just turn around and say, well, just say no, because an awful lot of people, male or female, regardless of various whatever demographic, lots and lots of people aren't comfortable with that, and so it's the leadership that should take the role. Sorry, I said I'd try and interject slowly, but that's like a real bee in my bonnet, by the way.
No, absolutely, and like you said, it happens so often. So you, like I said at the start, you want people to feel that they can progress their careers if that's what they want, and you don't. Again, if you're an engineer and you're stuck doing admin, that's not the way they want to progress their careers. They want to, get on the projects, do the engineering, travel the world, various different things. And so what I like to work with organizations on is, one, are people getting that opportunity? And the only way you can find out that is actually speaking to them. One of the things I really like is doing stay interviews. So, exit interviews are common when people leave an organization, but do you ever do stay interviews? Ask people, why are you still here? In a nice way. Yeah, because it's always good to know what's working, because that you want to double down on, so that's not something that when, crunch time comes that you get rid of, because that's maybe what's keeping people there. And then finally, the third part is all about empowering your future leaders. So that's, as we talked about, sponsorship, advocacy, ethical approaches, authentic humility. I can use a lot of buzzwords here, but it's like you said, it's just being nice in a lot of cases. It's putting your ego to one side and saying, how can I support these people coming after me? So there isn't a broken rung. There isn't ivory towers in that. I mean, you talked earlier about, the CEO coming in. I'm thinking, can you imagine a CEO coming in and taking the minutes on a meeting? I would love to see that. Because it shows them that, one, they want to be engaged in the workforce. And, it's like that photograph from the White House with Obama fist bumping the cleaner. I don't know anybody who would see that and doesn't smile. Because you like seeing real people. And people like to work for real people. I'm absolutely sure that's true. I've never seen a study on it, but I just know in my heart that that's the way it is. So that's how I like to work with companies. It's kind of coaching. I can run workshops. I'm a big fan of doing events, but not just a DE&I event for a DE&I event's sake, like International Women's Day, for example. The most successful events are ones that tie it to the business. So what is a real business problem that we can solve if we put all the right people together? And it's that bit about D&I is an enabler there. It's making sure that you have the right people there in order to solve the business problems.